Abbey Dental, sponsors of Late Lunch for all aspects of today's dental care. Highly recommended throughout the Isle of Man.
Hello and welcome to the Late Lunch Leftovers podcast, where we take a look back at our past week. And once again, we got very creative in the studio. Roy Baker joined us and taught us how to make woggles. You know, those things that scouts use? Probably more successful for Christy than for me, but we will let you be the judge of that. Mike Cooley once again joined us for his mindfulness session. Always a wonderful time of the week where we just take a little bit of time out. We were also on Friday joined by somebody who's been nominated to be the best young fishmonger throughout the UK, and it also includes the Isle of Man. Jordan Kegg is the first person actually from the island to be nominated for this award. The nominations close on May the 29th, so still some time potentially, if you're listening to this before then, to get your vote in. But first of all, Mark Hepworth from Abbey Dental came in for his regular monthly dental surgery. And this time he brought someone with him, his dad. Now, we will have a video on the Manx Radio Facebook page, and you can also go to the portal as well, because you have got your dad, Peter, with you. Can you talk us through his dentures? Sorry, Peter, is that all right?
Yeah, can do.
Can he or me? Sorry, yeah.
It depends which one of us. Which one, is that all right? Are you sure?
You're the expert. You're the expert.
No, not an expert. I'm just a dentist. You know? Right. So basically, he lost his teeth in his 30s. He didn't lose all his teeth. He's got them in a box at home, so he's, But the teeth in his mouth went around about the around about the 30s. He is walking home. So what happened was he was given dentures. Now, they, as I said, don't stimulate the bone. So over a period of years and years, and it's been years and years, the bone shrunk more and more and more. So he's had new dentures to make up for that fact. So what I'm going to ask him to do is I want him to read this out for me. So if you read that, I've done it in big letters. So
that's quite all right. I didn't need me glasses.
Okay. Yeah.
I would like some thick and thin fish and chips with salt and vinegar.
Right, now as quick as you can, pop your sets out, and
excuse us.
So if there's some slurping noise, don't put them on there. Stick them in a box. I've got a box. Right, so he's putting his teeth in a sterilising solution so that nobody's infected with anything. But they
turn away from any cameras there might be as well here.
Now read the same thing if that's
the
right.
Same thing.
Go on.
I'm going to laugh at this myself. I would like some thick and thin fish and chips with salt and vinegar.
Okay.
Give them your teeth back.
Give your teeth back. Now I brought a cloth to wipe the microphone, but there you go. So what you can hear, I won't get him to do it again, but you can hear he can't speak. You can't say the ths and the fuzz and the suz. So without your teeth, just trying to speak is really difficult. Now the other thing is, we can see as he closes his mouth, he's actually smiling. There we go. But his whole face shape changes. You lose all the support down the bottom. Your face sags. Your cheeks go in. They look all sort of sunken hollow.
You can gurn like a dream, though.
Oh, and nearly, yeah.
And you can't eat apples.
So, but even your voice without your teeth, you sound older. So the whole face shape changes. You lose that support. So that can be a big confidence thing for some people if they do lose their teeth and don't have replacement ones. Everything changes.
So how do you look after the dentures then? Because
Right.
I notice you've put them in a container of some sort of solution there.
So what I've put these ones in. This is a solution of Retainer Bright, which we can use on dentures. We can use it on retainers for braces and things. So it's a good idea to every now and again, and by every now and again can be once a week, can be once a month if you're looking after them. It's a good idea to take your dentures out and put them in some sort of sterilising solution. Always, always, always follow the instructions. If it says put it in cold water for 10 minutes, put it in cold water for 10 minutes. Not hot water, not an hour. Follow the instructions, because you can damage the plastic. And what we sometimes see as dentists, if someone puts their dentures in hot water, the plastic becomes very brittle and it also goes white, so you lose all the pinkness and it's literally like they're bleached. But that's a sort of an every now and again thing to keep them clean. On a daily basis, and I mean 2 or 3 times a day, when you've eaten something, it's a good idea, take your dentures out. If you've got a toothbrush, great. You can get denture brushes which are slightly stiffer, and then you want to just clean all the surfaces of the dentures just with a toothbrush, as if you're cleaning your own teeth.
Not with
but you
anything
can
on
take
it.
them out.
Or...
Now, what I would recommend is that you use soap, not toothpaste. Okay. The reason for that is soap is not designed to be abrasive. Toothpaste is slightly abrasive because when we're cleaning our teeth, then you want something that's going to take all the gubbins and all the stains and the food off our teeth. But that's where we were saying before about don't scrub too hard because it's abrasive and it can actually damage your teeth.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
We're talking today, Mike, about sort of issues surrounding anxiety and how not to be swamped by the mind, which I think was a great phrase that you used earlier. I mean, how easy is it to get into a state of mind, I suppose, where you're not overwhelmed by thoughts if you have a natural propensity to that?
Good question. So mindfulness is a practice, it's a kind of training. And, you know, I find it fascinating that we're really good now in our culture at stepping in after the fact. You know, there's help when you've had a breakdown, there's help when things have gotten bad, you've had panic attacks and things like that. But there's little idea that you can do anything beforehand. Like you can, in the same way you train your body to be strong, just to have a strong body, we can train the mind because it's useful to have a strong, resilient mind. That's just going to serve you well in your life. So mindfulness is a practice. And you know, what you're kind of practicing is a completely different relationship to your thoughts. So all the people I work with, generally they have either, not always, but anxiety, depression and things like that. I usually ask everybody, regardless of what they're experiencing, would you say that you think too much? Nobody has ever said no. Nobody. You know, so that's the problem in itself, is thinking too much. We think about everything too much. And then that gets us into trouble. You know, that takes over, the speed builds up. And, you know, we get anxious and worried and fearful about things that are not even taking place. So you kind of suffer twice then, because you'll suffer when it happens, but you're suffering now before it happens. So you're suffering twice. So with the practices, you can learn how to kind of basically self-calm the mind down. You know, regulate yourself. You do it yourself. And you can try the practice we recorded earlier. And you begin to realise that your mind doesn't have to be full of thoughts all the time. You can kind of quieten that down. And actually, when it stills and you can rest in that still mind, actually, that's a very homely, nourishing, still place to rest. It's very clear, it's very alive, it's very focused. And it feels much, much better than being just dragged around by your head.
And it's really interesting what you say, that the number of people you talk to say that they do think too much. There is something quite comforting about knowing that a lot of people are in the same boat.
Oh, yeah, there is. But there's also something quite worrying at the same time. And that becomes the new normal. You know, we all think we're all depressed, we're all doing this. Oh, yeah, it's normal. Well, it kind of shouldn't be normal, really. You know, I think the ability to self-regulate and look after oneself, I mean, that should be normal. But we don't know those practices and skills. And, you know, slowly we're rediscovering that. But I would say as a basic mental health skill, the ability to know that you can calm your own mind down when you need to is number one.
He uses a brilliant phrase in this practice that we recorded today, which of course we'll put online as usual after the show, and you can subscribe to the podcast as well. He used a phrase, catch the mind in action, which I think is a great one, like you said, for just, it's awareness at the end of the day, isn't it? But it genuinely makes you just aware of what you're thinking.
Yeah, and it's that's the way I teach you, with prompts and questions, you know, and just that kind of, that question, what's your mind doing right now? And you take a look. You don't read the answer in a book. You look at your own mind. And often that will strangely kind of scare the mind off. When you think, oh, I'm going to catch the mind in action now, often you'll think, well, okay, it's quiet. I'm not thinking about anything right now. So there's something about kind of turning the spotlight onto your mind and having a direct look that has this kind of effect of creating a gap or a stillness.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
The nationwide search for the top young fishmonger is on, and the Isle of Man cod win it. And you could help make sure that we show everyone we have the best fishmonger in the tunaverse, because Robinson's has nominated their young apprentice, Jordan Kegg, for the competition. And he has done incredibly well. He's made the shortlist. Shall I end the puns there?
Shall I apologise for you,
No,
Beth?
look, come on. I feel like I'm doing my bit here. We need to pick this up.
You're
Jordan,
fishing for praise, aren't you?
I am a little bit. Jordan, welcome to Late Lunch. How do you feel about being nominated and shortlisted for this?
Absolutely amazing. It's undescribable in words.
So-
Over the moon.
Tell us a little bit then about how you got into this job, because you've been there for 3 years. Where do you work?
I work up at the fish market at Robinson's on Cool Road there, the main warehouse. I got into it through my girlfriend. She worked there at the time, and I was looking for somewhere where I could develop and grow, and that was the perfect place.
And you're clearly doing incredibly well. We've posted the link on the Manx Radio Facebook page to where people can go and vote for you. And the 4 people who've been shortlisted all had to do a video. Just tell us what you had to do for that.
So I had to do a couple of shots of me doing some filleting. I also dressed a lobster, and there's a couple of pictures of me with fish and a few of my counters that I do on the daily. And do talk about some of my fish knowledge.
I have to say, the only thing Beth is now thinking about is what the lobster was dressed up in.
I was
knew
desperately
it.
trying not
I
to
know,
say it. A
I'm
little
so
tuxedo.
sorry.
No? Okay. We've also got Jay, who works at the fish market at Robinson's as well, with us. Jay, Robinson's would be so proud of Jordan.
No, it's brilliant. It's a massive achievement, to think of this as a nationwide thing, not just the Isle of Man. And we've got a young gentleman who's done so well to be shortlisted and get himself over to London to the Fishmongers Guild to talk to guys over there and show his skills and hopefully bring it home.
And we've had a message in from Jeanette who says, Jordan is great, bless him, always love being served by him. Robinson's must be really proud. And this is the first time, I think, Jay, that we've had a fishmonger nominated for this.
Yeah, I've never heard of anyone that's been nominated for this before, so we're really, really excited. It's great.
So what is it? I'm not going to make Jordan have to say this, because it's really hard talking about yourself in this way, but what do you think it is that makes him such a great fishmonger?
He's skillful, obviously, so he's got good knife skills. But I think more than anything, it's his customer service. It's the way he approaches it with the customers. They come in, we get the old dears coming in, and they absolutely adore him. He really looks after them, and he charms them, and makes sure we get them sales through. Eh? He's brilliant.
So we really want to make sure that Jordan goes all the way and reels in the win. You've got until May the 29th to vote, and it's really, really simple. Just follow the link that we put on the Manx Radio Facebook page. You can watch the video and also just place your vote there. I have to ask you, have you timed yourself ever filleting a fish? Have you got some sort of record in your head about that?
About 51 seconds for a whole fish.
I love how precise that is.
That is
51 seconds.
How often do you test yourself on this? It's quite a regular occurrence, is it?
Yeah, he's got the stopwatch on all the time.
I take it you do enjoy fish as well. Do you like eating fish? Yeah. What's a really good Manx fish recipe then that people should try out? What would you recommend?
I'd say the Queenies and pancetta, if you haven't tried it.
That
Good
does sound
choice.
good. Wow. And this is a great way of also, it's promoting the fishing industry here in the Isle of Man. So I think that it can't be underestimated what this is doing for the Isle of Man as a whole. Have you ever had to deal with any really unusual catches? Because I'm guessing it sort of depends on the season as to what you get in.
The latest one was an Argentine. That was a strange fish. It's a deep water fish. That was a strange one.
Yeah, definitely something we haven't seen before.
Yes.
It
was a new thing.
took the customers by surprise, I think, that one, didn't it?
Yes.
So do you put them on display when you get these odd catches as well? Was it one of those ones that's got like a funny light thing on its head?
No, it's massive eyes, though, because it was such deep water. It had eyes the size of saucers, it was huge.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for popping in. We wish you all the very best. Do keep us updated on how it's going, and everybody just needs to go out there and vote.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Somebody who I'm sure might remember that place in Peel, the pool there, is Roy Baker. Roy, lovely that you're with us this afternoon. Do you remember going down to the pool?
I do. I used to get a season ticket. A season ticket was 15 shillings, and that was for every day, all summer. And I seem to remember one time, I think it was maybe in the very early 70s, maybe late 60s, we heard this, we seen a big cloud of black smoke, and we heard this loud bang, maybe seconds later, and it was an aircraft that went down.
Oh my word!
It was they used to have the target off Juby, and it come down.
Oh my
Couldn't
gosh.
pull out and off he went.
Wow.
Gosh.
Yeah.
But
it's
you
quite
remember-
exciting, really, when you're a kid and see
I
all
bet
that.
it is, yeah. But I'm sure there are other places that you remember around Peel, and we'll
I do. Fishing. Fishing for gillies, they're little tiny coalfish, blocking. Well, so you're camping, great fun. Going up camping, setting fire to things.
Okay. Probably
Speaking
leave those.
of which,
Oh yeah.
setting fire to things, I've got to just jump in there and just give a really big mention, speaking of Peel as well, to the guys that put on the Eve Olden Festival, the Fire Festival yesterday. It was a brilliant spectacle. I mean, at times a little bit dicey with the wind blowing all the fire everywhere, but it was a pretty magical evening and afternoon as well, with all the music and the food stalls and yeah, the choreographed display that they put on in the evening. And there were so many people there. Were you there, Roy?
I wasn't. I was very busy.
He's a very busy man, as our Roy. But it was a really good spectacle. I thought it was great stuff, so congratulations to them as well.
And Roy is also here because it is Challenge Tuesday. So generally what happens is somebody comes in and challenges us to make something during the show. And Roy has walked in with... some apparatus for us, because when you walked in with nothing in your hands or no bags or anything, I thought, well, what's
What are we
happening
gonna
here?
make?
What are we going to make, Roy?
We're going to make a Turk's head woggle.
Pardon?
A Turk's head woggle.
Okay.
I recognise that name as being to do with the Scouts and them using it on...
It is. It's
the
a woggle for
ties
their
or-
necker.
Necker.
Right.
Or necker chief. Some
Okay.
people like calling it.
So you've given us what we're going to make it out of. What is this?
Piece of string, a bit of yellow string.
Right.
It is brilliantly yellow, I
Paracord
like
is the
it.
actual word.
And you've got one that you've made earlier. I don't know if we've got enough string, surely, to make
You
that.
have enough string for that. 18 inches is actually enough for it. It's only a doubled up knot. It's very easy.
Okay.
Well, it is for me because I know how to make them.
Right. Well, a little bit later then, we'll be giving that a go. Looking forward to that. Those are all our late lunch leftovers for this week. Do tune in for the main helping on Manx Radio, weekdays just after 2 p.m.
Every week, of course, we'll have our regular features with Duxford Diaries. We'll have Mark Tiley's Greatest Hit, Midweek Mindfulness, and plenty more with our monthly guests as well.
But for now, thank you so much for listening to the Late Lunch Leftovers podcast. We'll see you again next time.
Abbey Dental, sponsors of Late Lunch for all aspects of today's dental care. Highly recommended throughout the Isle of Man.